Hi boys and girls, hope you're up for doing some more art today, some of the phone pictures, these ones again. So I'm just going to do a wee turtle one today, but I'm just going to show you all the materials that we're going to need first. Okay, so we've got our watercolour pencils here, our ruler, a couple of small brushes, a little bit of water, tissue, and I think we're good to go. Okay, so we're just going to start this. I'll get you sorted here so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what I've done so far, I've just drawn out this little turtle here. There's two little turtles in the water. And if any is joined in with the Nemo one, it's a wee bit the same sort of background as that, so that should be pretty easy to do. So what I'll do first, I'm just going to draw around the little turtle with my black watercolour pencil. And there's his wee head. So, and you can draw out some of his wee shells on his back if you like. You can do it your own way if you like. Okay. And he's got a wee arm there, and that's him. And then there's another little one down here. He's just got a little eye and a little head. He's facing this way, he's swimming under him. And then his body's a bit shorter because you can't see them all of them. So there you go. So that's them in. And I've already done my wee phone picture, so you just draw around your phone. And just to remind you again, all these ones that we've done before, we're going to do quite a lot of them. And we can turn them into bunting, bookmarks, mobiles, and also little pictures for the back of your phone as well. Okay. So what I'm going to start off by doing here, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and I'm just going to put some little bits of light yellow round about them. This one should be pretty easy to do. So lots of light round about them so that we can see them. And then we'll get the blue, and when the blue touches the yellow you'll get a kind of a greeny aqua tones under the water, so that'll be quite good. So remember, use your brush, your pencil on its side so that you don't get big scribbly lines. And this is paint that's in these pencils, so remember you get a lot out of them. So once I mix them, they should come out pretty good. I can get in with a wee bit of paint later on. I'm going with a wee bit of my paint. Just make sure I've got my paints out. And we can do a little bit of blue on that. So that's us. So I'm just going to wet this just with my small brush now. So I'm just going to use some water and a little bit of my brush. I'm going to use a smaller brush than that, I think should be enough. So a little brush like that, that's big enough. And just always go to the light colours first. You can see it almost turning green already. Just keep them nice and light first. There's the blue coming in. Keep as much light round about them so that we can see them. This should be fairly easy to do, this one. You can add other little fish into it if you like. So I'm just adding water to this to blend this in now, and then I can go in with a darker blue as well. Okay, oops, I've just touched on the little frame there. That's watercolour as well, so that would blend into a black, so I need to be careful there. Now I'm going to go in and put a darker blue in there as well. So this here is, just looking to see if I've got my watercolour here. Yep, I've just moved them to do other painting there. Yeah, I've got my watercolours here, save me opening a new box. So I've got some ultramarine here, which is nice and dark. This is it here. So it's just a little bit darker for up there. And it's quite nice. It acts as a nice wee frame round it too. And this helps to make the water look even lighter. That is a bit watery there, but you can just dab that on a cloth and put a bit more on. Get it a bit stronger. So basically you can put quite a lot of that round about the sort of frame line of it. Not too much, just a little bit. Now if you want to sort of thin it out a little bit as well, just wet your brush, dab it on the cloth, and all you're doing is adding a little bit of water to the ends of that and letting it run down so that you don't get any harsh lines on it. Again, just clean your brush and just tap on the edge of it. We don't want it too heavy round about the turtle. And you can always use your tissue as well and dab little bits if it's too much. So that's fine. We'll put a little bit at the bottom as well. So the darker you make the sort of framework of it, the brighter it looks in there. Nice and dark in that corner. And we can get it a wee bit darker up there too. A bit more. Watercolour runs, so sometimes it dilutes the colour a wee bit too much for you, but you can go back and just add little bits. Yeah, so I'm just going to soften the edges of this blue as well. Just keep cleaning your brush and a little bit of water, not too much water because it would just run, see. So just make sure it's not too runny. That's just a little bit more blue paint I'm putting on there. There you are. So for the turtle, we'll start off kind of light to start with. We'll maybe put a couple of wee sort of peachy tones on them first. I'll just go in with the paints here for a wee bit quickness. So just little bits, just some colour reflecting on them. And then you might go in with a little bit of green. This is a light green that I'm using out of my paints. And you just sort of spread the colours onto everything on them so that it balances, and you can go back in. If it goes a wee bit too watery, you can go back in. So I'm just going to put a few different colours on here. I might put a kind of pale blue on as well. You can do this with your pencils or your paints, it doesn't really matter, whatever you prefer. Sometimes the blue and the green mixes together, but that's fine. So we'll put a wee bit more green on this wee guy here. He's a bit smaller, so you can't really make out a lot of the colours on him, but you can still go in and add some. Okay, put a wee bit on his head there maybe. bit on his. Okay, now if you like, what you can do as well, you can do some wee white fish on them. So I'm just using the white acrylic. So this is, if any white paint at all that you've got, I've just got a wee bit white acrylic here. And I'll need to press into it because I haven't used it for a wee while, so it's got a wee bit dry. So any white paint, even Tipp-Ex, anything that you've got in the house, or white emulsion if you've not got any white paint. And this is just to add like wee fish floating about. Probably best waiting till your paint's dry to do these. But they're just kind of swimming about there. So there you go. Do a few down here as well. You can go back and put wee colours on them if you like. Right, so what I might do here is I might put a bit of pink onto them so that they stand out a wee bit better. Just a wee bit. It's not so much that you'll see the colour, but it just makes them look like something. So, should wee fish swimming about. So this is quite an easy wee picture, this one. So I've already drew around the turtles with the black watercolour pencil, but I can do it again just to be a wee bit stronger and put his eye in. This is a watercolour pencil here. Nearly finished this pencil, but I'll get as much out of it as I can. Yeah. Do his wee shell. You can go back over some of his wee shells again there. Okay, and do a wee extra bit round there. Go round his head once more. Okay, so that was just almost like a wee half a football there. So that's the easy way to do it, with two wee arms and a head and a wee nose, a wee mouth, or an eye I should say. And there, the small one down here. This is like a wee baby turtle here. He's swimming under him. And again, we'll get some of the sort of shell marks on him as well. There you are. So now that the wee fish are drying in a bit more, I could probably go in now with a wee bit more pink. Or any colour, just try and use a colour that you've not used in the background so that it stands out. You can even put wee orange ones in. I'll just put some of these ones in now. And I'll go for a wee bit orange now. You'll hardly see them because they're swimming about, so it's just to show that they're there. You don't have to have any details on them. Okay. And if you want to highlight some of them a little bit more, you can just put a wee fresh white. The white will stand out better now because it's drying in a bit now. A wee bit more of them swimming round about there. They're just like wee lines really, your brush sort of does it. I'm not doing any detailed fish because that would take it away from the turtles. It's just so that we can see the turtles better. So what I can do as well, I can put a wee bit more blue around about there just to show the turtle up a wee bit more. You just keep this pretty light to start with so that you can see what you're doing with the turtle and show him off first before you start going in with some colours. But it's nice to get as much light as you can. And if you put like some wee sort of streaks of blue, swirling around there. That kind of makes them look like they're moving. This wee lines of blue. And the white fish makes them look like they're moving as well, so that all works out pretty good. So a few more here. And when you put a bit of blue round about the wee white fish, it makes them stand out better as well. So that's filling in a lot of the yellows there, and it makes it look a bit more aqua, so that's quite nice for up there. And then just soften them with your water. You get those nice wee aqua tones coming through now. This is just a light blue I'm putting on. Now you can take your tissue or even a wee wipe and just soften into it to make it a wee bit paler, like that as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is get my wee black pencil here again, and I'm just making sure that, because I've put those black lines around there, I'm just going to go in there ever so slightly with a wee pointy brush and just wet on them. That makes them a wee bit stronger, see that? This wee guy will be stronger because he's smaller. I'd like a wee bit more blue on that wee guy, just to make him look more like the big one. So a wee bit on there and there. So there you go. So that's that bit done. Now I'm going to go in with my flat brush. This is just a wee flat brush here, and I'm going to get my ruler, and I'm going to just go around all my lines. I think I might just go around with an extra wee line round it with my pencil anyway. And remember, you can get mums and dads or older brothers and sisters to help you with this wee bit, because I need a wee steady hand to do this, as you can see. So you can use a black Sharpie or your black watercolour pencil. The black watercolour pencil is good because when you wet it you get a nice wee shadow off it, and that's what we're looking for. We sort of shadow up the side. A wee tiny bit more there. So it's a good idea before you start as well, just make sure your pencils are nice and sharp. Go down that one as well. It's actually a good idea if you do this while it's wet, while it's dry, you know, let it dry a wee bit and then go in, just so that you don't smudge anything, because it's easier to do it from that angle, but if it's wet it could smudge, so you're better letting it dry. Right, so what I'll do now if it goes over a wee bit like that, that's absolutely fine, because while it's still dry you can rub that wee bit out with your rubber. Comes out a bit. If it doesn't, you can go over it with your white paint. Now the other thing, you can take a wee flat brush now, and this is where you need to lift your pad up a wee bit so that you can go around your lines. So just wet it once. Oops, that means a wee bit in it. That's okay. So don't have your brush too wet, that's another wee thing. So we'll just dry the brush off. Tiny little bit. It only needs to be damp, your brush, to make this work. So going up there, hold your brush at a good length, up and down like that, and it gives you a wee shadow. And then you can clean it, dry it off another wee bit, and then just run down there like that, and that will tidy it another wee bit. Just keep turning your pad right round until you've done all four sides. Okay. That's your wee phone, you can tidy up. This is just a wee wipe I've got in my hand. You can tidy up any wee bit. And if any wee bits are quite stubborn and they don't come off, you can just put a wee tiny bit of your white. You'll be cutting these out anyway, so you can do that, and that sorts that out, or any other wee bits that happens to get messed up. So don't go worrying about that. And then you can take your pencil, finish off the little corners, join up your black lines, and so it looks a bit more like a phone when you do that. Sometimes as well I was doing a wee extra line at the bottom, just makes it look a bit more like a phone when you do that. Okay, so that's you now. If you like at the end when it's all almost dry, you can go in with some more wee brighter white fish just to brighten them, because they go on quite watery them and they dry out quite a bit, which makes them not so white. So you can go back in and just lift the white on them a little bit. Okay, so that's it until the next time. Okay, bye bye.